Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in and check out your boy, P Farm, thinking right out here in the lab, in the book, where I do what I do for you. I got something nice for you today. Let's go. Rightism, 25 rules to live by. Storytelling, story with a message. There's a message in the story for life. I give you life lessons. You tune in receiving them. I appreciate you. We got a good thing going. Let's do what we do. Right thinking mission, and that's what I'm on, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinking's way of life through mental and spiritual discipline practice daily will help and guide you to attain your goal of reaching spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission is that all right thinkers know thyself, and if you're a right thinker, your goal is to know thyself. You see where we're going with this? So let's get there together, and I'll ask the question: do you know you? You will when I'm through. It's rhetorical, but if you don't have the answer for yourself, tune in. I can help you with that. That's what I do. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple. You can teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. I appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believe and think that they know is dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows and knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. I'm the spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. That's what I do for you. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers, know thyself. And to my yacht, be true. We got 2 pages, 3 pages of information. First, it's going to be right thinking. Let's talk about the serpent power in other parts of Africa, starting with what they call the Kong people of Africa. Then I'm going to take you to the south and break it down for you. Or we call it the dot and the circle from a Masonic concept. And I'm going to end up with the serpent power path. Good information. Let's go. Now, this is a picture of the continent of Africa. Okay. And you see a little dot right there? That was the Kalahari Desert. Okay, that's where the Kong people were from. So let's get into this lesson right quick. The knowledge of the life force inherent in the human body, which was known as a rat in ancient Egypt, Kundalini in India, Chi in China, Kwa or Ka in Japan. This all existed in various traditions around the world. So everybody had a concept of the life force energy. The Kong nation of Africa, who resided in the Kalahari Desert, are one of the societies referred to as, they call them the Bushmen. Okay? They possess the knowledge of the inner life force. And from ancient times, practice the disciplines to arouse it for the purpose of, you ready? Attaining spiritual enlightenment. Even the Bushmen wanted to become spiritually enlightened. The Kung, spelled K-U-N-G, the practitioners, they describe the classic life force arousal, which begins at the pelvic area down the bottom, but it starts at the root chakra with the sacrum at the bottom of the spine. But it also, watch this, at the pelvic region, and it moves up, I told you, and rises where? To the brain. They are causing what they call ecstatic, or what I tell you, we call it the mystical experience. When you become conscious of your real self, your true self, your higher self, your God self, that's a feeling you can't describe. You have to experience it for yourself, hence the mystical experience, which allow you, the practitioner, now to what? Attain in what they call an expanded state of consciousness, super consciousness, Christ consciousness, God conscious. See where we're going with this? Is all becoming aware and known to them as Kia. Okay, the Kung people call it Kia. I drive a Kia car. This experience allows them to what? Better serve their society. As a people, if I'm living right, you living right, she's living right, they living right, we all grow and prosper as a society. That's what they did in ancient times. And in most villages, that's how it's done. As in other nations, as in other nations of Africa, the Kung began by what? Engaging. This is important. I'm big on rituals because if it's done right, it leaves a stain in your brain that reenacting a ritual is just to do that. Get the idea stained in your brain. And you spend engaging hours in hours long rituals of dancing, similar to what the modern day Sufi sect known as the whirling dervishes. You see them now, they be happy feet. You see them going around. Okay, those are all rituals. Those are all spiritual enhancement that they go through. And what's this? When you have the whirling dervish, it's an intense ritual or in any prolonged activity where you spending time, you got the music playing, you got stuff going on, and any of that will assist what? Your mind in entering into, you ready? What they call altered states of consciousness. They took ayahuascas, they did other things, they lotus flower, hallucinogens, mushrooms. They knew altered states of the mind. They understood it. They got this what they call ketamine now. The young boys say, man, it takes me to other realms. I go to other realms. I ain't got to snip that ketamine to go there, though. And I'm sure the realm you at ain't going to be the realm that I'm at. Difference. Understand that. But the altered state, meaning you're doing something to enhance your thought process. If you need a drug to do that, some people like that sort of thing. Back in my day, I used to get high, take acid, all that nonsense. So I know mescaline, all that stuff, tripping. But that's all for me at that time was for pleasure, just to, to wild out. I don't do it on a regular basis to just live. No, you can't live that. No. So back in my day, that's what it was. But now, they tell you, when you having your ritual, if it's done right, you should really feel it. You should be involved. When I was doing my Masonic rituals, I become a different person. Why? I'm focused. I'm focused on the ritual. I try to make a point. I'm trying to make this stain in your brain. So when you're enacting, I tell all my students, my fellow brothers, when we do this, don't half-ass it. Don't know. Make them understand it. Why I did it. This was you at one time, remember? So give them the same experience. They deserve that. That's what the rituals are all for, to give the person to have his own experience. And when you enter into what they call altered states of consciousness without it being drug-induced, rituals can do that also. That's why in church, they get on site, the spirit hit them, they go talking in tongues, they jump. That's the same thing. How you handle your spirit is up to every individual. Can't nobody tell you how to worship or how to know you speak in tongues, knock yourself out. But the goal is, that's the problem. The goal is to what? Arouse what they call Num. N/UM. That's the life force. That's what they call it. Everybody got a name for God. Everybody got a name for whatever they're doing. So the name don't mean much. It's what the act. That's the difference. And they understood the life force, which is said to reside where? In the pit of one's stomach. Your energy center, number 3. And when warmed, aroused, okay, by what? Righteous living. Doing the right thing. Rises from the base of your spine, told you sacrum, as with other accounts from around the world, what? You'd initiate your onset of this arousal may be painless, or it can be flipped and may be attended by a painful movement of energy, not unlike the pain of giving birth to a child. That's how strong that feeling is. That's how strong that thing happens if you ain't ready for it, it can knock you for a loop. And with such a force, watch this, that it may challenge even your sanity of the individual. Weak-minded people, but it's kind of double-edged sword. When you live right, you're doing right, something's going to happen. But if you ain't mentally prepared and aware, it could cause problems because you don't know what it is. I didn't. I just held on and wrote it out. But yeah, it's a change. It's a change. Okay. But this occurrence, this mystical experience that every individual, just like death, you got to experience it for yourself. Somebody else's death don't mean damn thing to you. Your motherfucker don't care. No, your turn to come. You got to deal with it. That's all about life. It's a process. And this occurrence can understandably cause an intense fear, which when overcome, all our fears, first of all, fear, remember, is false evidence appearing real. That means it ain't real. You got to crash through. And everybody who did that realized, I crashed through. When David slew Goliath, that's a perfect example. Everybody was scared, except David. Well, he challenged it, took it on, and went crashed through, and he succeeded. That's how you defeat what? Your dark side. That's how you conquer your fears of yourself. That's what it's all about. And this occurrence can understandably cause intense fear, which when overcome, there you go. When you overcome that fear, what happened? That will allow the release of what? Your soul into what? A new realm of consciousness. Fear held you back. Fear kept you, timid. You get rise up. Now you're ready to do battle. And that's called the Kia state. Courage. The state of Kia, watch this, is equal to the state, I just gave that lesson, Sahu. S-I-H-U. That means religious ecstasy, Eucharist, bliss, peace, the same concept, okay? And of ancient Egypt. Again, there you go. Sahu, we call it. Now, in India, they call it Samadhi. Enlightenment, Nihas, okay? Yoga. And Satori in Zen meditation. So everybody understood the serpent power. Everybody understand the life force, aka spirit of God. They just presented and taught it in different ways. And wherever spot they was at, the culture that they believed that it fit right in. The Egyptian culture won't fit somewhere else. Why? Only in Egypt, that's where it works at. Indus Valley, India, China, everybody got their own culture, that's what I'm saying. But the spirit is the same all over. Now, I gotta get this next one out. This I'm gonna show you the diagram. In Masonic law, the compass was to set you into one place. You put the mark down here, the dot in the circle. That dot is the self. That's God. Outside the self, you got three realms. You got the physical body, you got the astral body, and the casual body. I'm going to break that down for you right quick and end this lesson. I see I got good time running, so I'm going to get this out of the way and take the next one. That's a good lesson coming up. Okay, let me get to this. Now, I just showed you the circle. As a Mason, they show you how to use the compass. You put the compass down, you circumscribe your body. And what that is, the first sign for God was the dot in the circle. Okay? Signs and symbols. We started with signs and they meant something. Once you know how to read the symbol, and Kendrick Lamar showed everybody how he's symbolist. He's perfect at getting his signs and symbols across with those who can understand them. And that's the part that we've been teaching. That's esoteric teaching. I've been doing that for the last 6 years and he covered it in 13 minutes. But that's the concept. Thinking right is what I try to get you to do. Use this thing. Why? This is all you got. Everything's up here. Moving on. Let me break it down for you again. The self, remember the dot. That's God. Hands down. Below, I just showed you a two-dimensional schematic, a drawing of what we call the subtle human constitution and its relationship to what we call the self or the soul or the spirit, whatever you want to call it again. That's what it is. But it's the core. It's the center. That's what everything is based on. Outside that, you got the casual body. Now, the casual body consists of what we call the unconscious mind. That's where God dwells. And with the sum total of what? Your karmic impressions, meaning how you live, which impel an individual to have what we call desires and aspirations. Hence, all you are aspirants. Why? You desire something to aspire to be better. Becoming your best self, becoming great, greatest love of all that's inside. And it is the plane where what? Where the veil of ignorance sustains that illusion of what? Separation from the self and the notion of what? Egoism. There you go. The I, the id, the identification as you as an individual. Okay? That's where you end up Before that, you have what they call the astral body. That's when we go to sleep. You can go into that realm, what they call it, composed of what? The mind and the senses. And because the body is at rest, you don't need to smell. You don't need to see. Your eyes are closed in the dream state. You don't need to hear. You don't need to touch, taste, or feel. So the body is at rest. Everything is done up here. That's the astral plane. The physical is where we live in right now, the third dimension. The physical body is called the gross, the visible manifestation of the life force energy through increasing more dense and condensed subtler matter, meaning the physical body, all come together. Now, the life force, aka serpent power, the energy originates from what? The self, the dot. Everything starts with that. And in the process of creation, because God is in the middle, he's never out of balance. He's never off. He's always where he needs to be. The self, okay, always there. Let me tell you, God's always with you to the end of time. The self, the spirit, ain't going to leave until what? The body ceases to function with the spirit in it. When the body can't function, the spirit got to go and move it on. But in the creation, it returns to the self. And the process is called dissolution. When you raise your conscious level, your ego will give in to what? Your higher self. And it will work for the higher self. So therefore, your serpent power, they call yoga, is that process of causing your energy to become what? Internalized inside. If young men, I keep explaining it to you again, sexual retention, semen retention, for 28 days, females get a menstrual cycle. Men, we got what you call a regeneration cycle. If we don't waste our semen for 28 days in the period, we get added years to our life. Why? The same thing that when you give it out to the female and the egg can create life, it can regenerate life within the same body if you keep it stored. Little tidbit. All right, but we keep our energy and become internalized. And what happens? And to return to its source. Again, rather than being used, externalized, and wasted in the realm of time and space, right here, physical now, of the three bodies, the one pleasure that the physical body desires and wants the most is sex. Sexual pleasure. If you can get past that, men, some women have sexual problems with control, they just gotta have it. But men, when you can control that thing between your legs, you become a better person. Why? You ain't spreading diseases. You ain't causing undue life. Why? Because of just having fun. And women, when we get better at that, those unwanted pregnancies, we won't have to worry about going to abortion clinics. We won't have to worry about all that other nonsense that we continually just run through. The sexual diseases that we have now, sexually transmitted disease, when I was coming up, we had 3. Gonorrhea, syphilis, and chlamydia was the last one to come on. I just checked. Y'all got 20 more added diseases. What the hell is y'all doing? What the hell is that about? Bodies. Oh, that's just getting disgusting. We aren't taking care of ourselves. We are not doing what we need to do to be better people for ourselves. So it's hard for me to make that point because everybody likes the other stuff. That's a lesson. Sorry about that. They're a little personal. But I'm seeing it like, y'all need to put some controls on yourselves. Anybody's controlling you, so you got to control yourself. I'm grown. 18 ain't grown. Moving on. They tell you the law. When wrapping this up, your 3 bodies consist of the physical, the astral, and the casual. Okay. When the serpent power is cultivated, your energy, your semen, and directed through the physical and your astral bodies, now its journey ends when it what? When it pierces through that casual body, okay, it become enlightened. And what happened? It reveals the self, the true self of the individual. Now you know thyself. That's the goal. That's how it's done. And when this occurs, what happens? The casual, the astral, and the physical bodies as if dissolve since the consciousness of what? Unity with the divine has replaced all consciousness of being what? An individual, a human, egoistic personality. Not the I, not the me. Now you're part of the one. That's knowing thyself. That's the lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you understood it. Hope you can get to work on what? Becoming your best self by knowing thyself. That's the name of the game. I hope you enjoyed it. And again, in closing, right thinkers, may you all live to be 100, me, 100 minus a day. So I never know my right thinkers who, knowing themselves, have passed away. I'll be right back.